Thanks. We continue our coverage this morning of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia's death with a conversation about how this could impact the upcoming election. Joining us this morning to help give us a better perspective on all of this is St. Mary's College political science professor Sean Savage. Thank you so much for coming in early this morning. We appreciate it. Of course, a lot of arguing going on about what's next for the Supreme Court, but I want to know, how could his death and now his absence affect the political divide and makeup of the court?
Well, actually, there's nothing in the Constitution that says that there must be exactly 9 justices on the court in order for it to do its work. We've had periods of time in the past for various reasons where, you've had 8 justices on the court deciding cases and announcing those decisions. But, of course, the fact is we've got a lot of important cases, important divisive issues before the court on abortion. And we always have cases involving the ACA or Obamacare because it's an enormous law with so many constitutional aspects to it, including religious freedom. And of course, we're in a presidential election year, which has turned out to be even more polarizing and divisive than people expected. And this is really the first vacancy that's appeared on the Supreme Court when you've had so-called divided government, meaning a president of one party and a Senate controlled by the other party, since 1991, when then President George H.W. Bush nominated Clarence Thomas to a Democratic Senate.
Now, the president, of course, says he will attempt to fill the vacancy. Republicans say leave it alone. They claim it would be wrong for the president to fill this conservative seat that Ronald Reagan filled all those years ago with a choice from a Democratic president. Whose right is it to choose this? Hasn't it always been the sitting president?
Typically that's happened, but of course, again, according to the Constitution, it's not the president alone who quote-unquote makes the appointment. He nominates somebody, and then the Senate decides whether to confirm that nomination and the person is appointed, or to reject that nomination. So, we have had some nominees who have been rejected. Robert Bork was rejected by the Democratic Senate in 1987. 2 of Richard Nixon's nominees were rejected by a Democratic Senate. And then, of course, even since 1991, relationships between the president of one party and a Senate controlled by that have become even more divisive and polarized. And it's very hard to believe that President Obama can nominate a judicial candidate who would be acceptable to even a substantial minority of Republicans in the Senate.
So how do you see this playing out? Do you see the Senate dragging their feet basically until the next president?
I think that's probably what's going to happen, because the stakes are just considered to be so incredibly high about who that person will be appointed to the court, how he or she will tend to vote on these very divisive issues that, I think that the Republicans are really going to drag this out as long as they can, put even more pressure to try to nominate a so-called establishment Republican candidate for president, because many conservatives don't want Donald Trump as the presidential nominee. He's come out in the past as being pro-choice on the abortion issue. Trump in the past has come out and saying Canada has a good single-payer healthcare system. So obviously it's going to have all kinds of impact and be mixed in with the presidential election race.
No doubt this is going to be one of the major topics that we discuss as we move forward into the presidential campaign. Sean Savage from St. Mary's, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here this morning.